Hi there, I'm Jo Simpson, and I'll be showing you how to make your very own Tala the Toucan stuffy. You may have found this video from the link in the Tala pattern, or if you're looking for the pattern, the link is in the notes under the video. Print out the templates. If you're making multiple toucans, I recommend printing these on cardstock, and then we'll cut these out. Go ahead and cut out all the paper templates. There are 2 body sets and 1 belly set that need taped together before we start cutting out fabric. So just line them up. I like to tape right by the edge so it stays together nice. And I flip it over and tape near the edge too. Okay. Body A looks good. And then go ahead and tape the other 2. All the templates are cut out, and I've matched up the fabric for the toucan parts. The fabric here is from Jessica Swift's Sunrise Sunset collection for Art Gallery Fabrics, and it's beautiful. This one I'm using for the body and belly. This one for the beak. This one for the wings and the feet. Batting for the inside of the feet and wings. You could also use Soft and Stable by Annie's. There is a cutting diagram in the sewing pattern. There are a few things to keep in mind. One is if you're using directional fabric, then you'll want all your parts with the fabric going the right side up. And another thing to think about is the eye placement. How will it look on the fabric? And I just wanted to show you a couple toucans that I've done. And this is somewhat directional fabric, so I just have the flowers going up and on the belly too. And I put the eye in a less busy place where you might want it framed by a flower. It's up to you, just something to think about. So this one too, the flowers are upright and the eye's in a less busy place. You'll notice there's a mirrored A and B side because too many times I've had it where I have the one template and then you flip it and match it up, and then somehow when I'm picking spots to put it, I end up with 2 of the same side. So that's why I have one of each, so it's foolproof for you. I have it going the right way, and I'm just checking my eyes. That looks like a good place for an eye. And that looks good for an eye too. I just didn't want it in the middle of a tree, although that could be a neat look too. And the belly, I wasn't really worried at all where it goes. So for tracing, I use a friction pen on lighter colors and a dressmaker's pencil for dark colors, and then it will show up. Go ahead and trace all your pieces and cut them out. I have a little trick to add the placement marks. I take a pin and poke through the middle. You can use that pinhole and just wiggle a little to get a pencil to go through to make the mark. Find that spot, wiggle it, and then I can see the spot there quite well. So I might just make it a little bigger, a little X. Perfect, so I have that marked. Then put it back on. Do the wing spot. push the pencil through. Go bigger. Okay. Nice. Another way you could do it is to mark those spots and then fold it and then mark them on the back. But this works pretty good. Yeah, I have my wing spots on my eye, and I'll set that to the side. The belly, and do that for the other side of the body too. The belly gets where you attach the feet marked as well. So we're going to do that actually. Okay. Okay, those look great. So when I'm marking the openings on the body, we're sewing on the inside of the fabric. So what I do, you could hold it up to a window if you can't see, or light, and then you can just mark where those openings are on the back side. And then flip your body over so it's the back side, the wrong side of the fabric, or the back side. And then just line up and then just pull it up a little. And then you can mark those. And it doesn't have to be exact because it's just where you're stopping and starting and back stitching. Okay, so the opening is marked on the side you're stitching on. So that will be good. And now that we have everything cut out and marked, it's time for the magic. And we'll bring Tala the Toucan to life. We are going to put the beaks on the body. So just line up the ones that go together. So right sides are out. Then we're going to put them together. And make sure your tops aligned. Turn it so you can see. You can just sew it. I'm going to pin it. I'm moving it around. Do that with the other one. I've got the top lined up. Okay. And while we're pinning, we're going to do, this is the belly and the lower beak. So we're going to pin those together, right sides together. For the belly, you'll start stitching, back stitch, sew, back stitch, right to the end. For sewing the beaks, you'll start at the top, back stitch, then you'll stop a 1/4 inch, I'll mark it, a 1/4 inch from the end and back stitch at the bottom. And for the second one, you'll do the same. You'll back stitch, sew, stop a 1/4 inch from the end and back stitch. Okay, for this, I'm using a light gray thread. I have my stitch length set to 2. So usually it's 2.5, so I bumped it down to 2. And I have a feature to have the needle down. So I also use that when I do these. Okay, so I'm starting at the top, right at the edge. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam. So I do 2 stitches, back stitch, and when I'm a 1/4 inch from the end, I stop, back stitch, and then I will do that for the other one as well. This one I pin the same way. So I'm actually starting at the bottom. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch from the end before I start, 1/4 inch seam, and do 2 stitches, back stitch, and once I get right near the end, I just back stitch. There we go, looks good. And then for the beak to belly seam, I'm just going to back stitch right at the start and the end. Perfect. After these are sewn, you'll press towards the beak for both of those, and for the belly, you'll just press towards the belly. Ooh, those are looking good. Okay, so we're gonna leave one right side up, put this one right side on top, and we're gonna pin the beak and the top seam. We're gonna sew 1/4 inch from the end all the way, and then 1/4 inch from that end, and we'll back stitch at both ends. Okay, I'm just gonna turn upside down to pin. So when I start pinning, I just make sure I have the beak all lined up. So I want those seams to line up nicely. So we're gonna start 1/4 inch in from the end, needle down, stitch length of 2, and we're gonna backspace when we start. Stopping 1/4 inch from the end and back stitch. Okay, we're gonna open up the beak and just finger press this end seam where the beak's together, just apart so it's easy to pin, and separate the beak and body some so you have some area to work with. So we're gonna pin the lower beak onto the side. What's the A or B? The side without the opening on the body. So if the opening should be on the other side. Okay, so you're just gonna lay that right on top of your finger pressed open. And then you're gonna pin along the side and make sure you line up your lower beak seam, your beak seams, and your body seams. We pin that one first. Okay, so when you sew this, you're gonna start after that 1/4 inch at that seam. So you're gonna start there and just make sure this other side of the beak is out of the way. And you're gonna back stitch and sew right to this next seam and back stitch. Start a 1/4 inch in so we're not sewing over the other side of the beak. 1/4 inch seam, stitch length of 2, needle down. Then we're going to stop right at or right before that seam, back stitch. Perfect. Okay, that looks really good. And while we're here at the machine, we're just going to pin the other side and then sew it down too. Yeah, make sure that beak is out of the way. Okay. So we have the other side of the lower beak pinned and we're going to sew it. And I just make sure I don't catch anything on the other side or in it. This is nice and far away. And because of the way I pinned it, I'm going to start at that lower beak to belly seam. Move that pin, back stitch, back stitch up in. Okay, just take a peek that nothing's been stitched over or caught in there. Nope, it all looks good on each side. Yeah, this is looking really good. So now we are going to join the one side belly to the body B, the one without the opening. And we're going to start pinning and then we'll sew right from that beak seam down to the tail, and we'll do like we did with the end of the beak. We'll finger press it open and then just pin that. Move the other one out of the way and just pin that in place. There we go. Okay, so for this curve, I recommend putting in lots of pins. And when you're pinning on the curve, sometimes you just have to fold a little bit into here to get your curves to match up. So right there, you can see I have a little bit kind of buckled in there, and that's good because where our seam is, it'll be smooth. Just to make all the fabric fit. Okay, yeah, so just keep going, pin the whole length, then we will head to the sewing machine. Okay, we're gonna start right on that beak to belly seam. You know the usual, 2 stitches, back stitch. This time I'm going to take the pins out as I go because they're quite close to the edge. Then as we get near the end, just stop a 1/4 inch from the end and back stitch. Time for the eyes. You could wait till later, but it's kind of fun. So what we'll do is where our little dot is where we marked it, I'm just going to take teeny tiny fold, just 1 layer, tiny little step. And these are the 10mm safety eye. We're just gonna pop it in there, and then the backs go on this way. I'll do it sideways so you can see. And you just got to get it past all the little grooves. So yeah, make sure none of the fabric's puckered. That looks great. Then we'll do the same for the other side. A little tiny snip. And just pinch the back on. Just getting a little bit of character now. Oh, those look great. Okay, back to putting it wrong side out. Okay, now we're going to set this little toucan aside and work on the wings and the feet. Okay, we're on to the feet and wings. We are going to make our feet sandwich. So we have the top layer. We're going to put these right sides together. Okay, so right sides together. And then we're going to put our little piece of batting on the back. And what I like to do is put a smidgen closer to the side where we're stitching, opposite the opening. So when we stitch around, we'll grab a little bit of that batting and it'll make it easier to turn it right side out. Then if you want to pin it close to the opening, because when you stitch around, you won't be anywhere near that pin. So go ahead and do that for all of them. Okay, these are ready to sew. So we'll start sewing, back stitch at the beginning, go around to the opening and back stitch again. Okay, I've switched out to navy thread to coordinate with the fabric. The stitch length is set to 2 and I have my needle down. So I'm going to start on the line. I'm going to do 2 stitches and then back stitch. And then just follow along till I get to the opening. Back stitch 2. You'll do the same for the other foot and for the wings. Okay, turn these right side out. I'll just stuff it all the way through. If you have a point turner or a pen with the tip in, you can use that and run the tool along the seams. I'm just using a pencil with the tip in. And then poke out corners. Yeah, just run it along the seam to make it smooth. Okay, that looks good. Then fold one edge over the batting or the foam, whichever you're using, and then just fold the other edge in. And you can give that a pin if you'd like. Then we're going to top stitch along this edge, along the complete edge. And you're going to do 1/8 of an inch so it'll just grab the edge and just sew all the way around and back stitch to secure. And that will secure this opening closed. Okay, got my edge tucked in here. And this is where I'm going to start sewing, is on that piece. And we're doing 1/8 of an inch. So I have this open toe foot, so I just set it so the edge is on that edge of it, and it's quite nice. Use whatever you have and whatever works. So we'll start, back stitch, and then just go around till you are right where you started. And then we're right near the end. So once we get there, just back stitch again. There we go. That looks great, top stitched. So go ahead and do your other wing and your feet, and then we get to start putting the parts on. So now we'll just do a little trimming for bulk for when we turn it right side out. You can test it first just to make sure everything looks good. I just cut a little off the end of the beak. So, because that's 3 seams at once, so it's a little bit of bulk. I haven't found that I need to trim the belly. If you do, you can do little cuts like this if it's bunching, but I haven't had any problems with that. And on the top seam too, if you find the beak starts bunching, you can cut little notches out. Let's turn this little guy inside out and take a look. Okay, now we get to put on the wings and the feet. So if you take a moment and just figure out which way you want your wings to go, you'll have the short side is the front and the top, and the long goes towards the tail. So I have these how I think I would like them. So I'm going to put this one on here, and I'm just going to center it on those stitch marks. Then I'm going to turn it around so I can see. Just make sure it's on those So the stitch line I have on the dots. Okay, and then once I like it, I'll pin it. And we're gonna sew this top edge, so put your pins a little bit away from it. You want two so it doesn't shift on you. Okay, so pin it on. Make sure just in, oh, I went through 2 layers. Make sure you're just going through 1 layer, yes. Okay, so I'm just lining up. There we go, through 1 layer, and then I'm just gonna double check after it's pinned, and then do the other side. One thing with the other side, once you have it pinned on, you can feel the top of them and see if they're lined up, if your top seam's all straight and lined up. Okay, so the long end going to the tail, short end to the top and the front. I'm going to center it. Yeah, and I can feel that other wing right on the other side. So that's all lined up, which is good. Okay, the wings are on. And then for the feet, we have those 2 dots. So take your feet and just make sure you know which way you want them. They'll go like this together. So just see which way you want them, which side up. I think I like them how they were. Like that. So the dot will just go to the middle of the stitch line. So, and you'll have this kind of running along your center line. So that looks good like that. So I'll pin one on. Just put it across. And that one, let's do the same. Have them just against each other. And you'll notice one is hanging over the seam a little because it's already 1/4 inch, and then the other one should be very close to it. Okay, and so for the feet, you're just going to sew across and part of the curve. So maybe 1/2 inch up, across, and the curve. Okay, I'm going to start with the top back edge of the wing. I'll just back stitch to start. I'm just going to follow the stitch line. Back stitch the last 2. Okay, and then put the other wing on. For the feet, just start 1/2 inch up from the bottom and back stitch. And then just follow the foot around the bottom. And back stitch. And do that for the second foot. We are on to pinning our last seam. So you'll start this one where you left off. And you're only going to pin to your opening mark and then the other side of your opening mark to the tail. Okay, now we're ready to sew. We'll sew from where that seam ended to where that one ended. And we're going to leave our opening to hand sew later. Okay, a back stitch. Now we can turn Tala right side out. Okay, and you can use your pencil to smooth the seams or whatever tool you have for turning seams. Okay, Tala's looking good. Now we're going to take some stuffing. And the first part we're going to stuff is the beak, right at the tip of the beak. I'm just going to push it all into there and then just keep adding. And feel free to have it as squishy or as firm as you would like. I made a little weighted pouch that have these glass gems in it. I put 8 in and then just sewed it shut. And I'm going to put this into the tail part and then she'll stay upright. It'll help. A little extra stuffing to cover it up. Perfect. And if you have small kids, there are weighted beads that are designed for stuffies. To sew this shut, cut my arm's length of thread. And then I just have these DMC needles, number 5 to 10, and I just pick one of them. Thread the needle, pull it so the ends are even, and then I'll just do a double knot. So I'll tie one, and then I'll tie a second one so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so I have a knot, then the rest of it. And what you'll do is fold the fabric so it's a 1/4 inch in on both sides. And then to start, I just go inside that fold, right where the other stitching was. And then because it's gonna, so then I'm just gonna go back and forth. But since it'll be hard to see on that, I'm just gonna draw on paper what kind of stitch we're doing. Okay. So here's one side folded, the other side folded. And then we stuck the needle between the fold, and there's a little knot there. And then we're gonna go to the other side into the fold, still inside the fold, probably 2 or 3 millimeters, 3/8 of an inch. And then back to the other side, into the fold, follow in the fold, come back out, into the fold, follow in the fold, and back out. And probably do that about 10 times, then simply give the thread a pull, and that will tighten up all your stitches. Then I'll do a little back stitch where I'll go back in and out, and then that just keeps it from unraveling if something happens to the thread. Then just keep going till you get done. Then you'll tie a knot at the end and just shove the thread into the fold, into the stuffy. Okay, Tala has her weight. She's all stuffed, hand sewn closed. She is all finished and ready for some adventures. Thanks for sewing along. I look forward to seeing your toucan and would love to share your new friend. On Instagram, tag me at Jo Simpson Design or hashtag Toucan Adventure, or email me at joe@josimpsondesign.com. Until next time.